Okay, in the previous video, I showed you that these threads would not go into the piston. So we're going to chase these down and take in their 5,000s. But I want to show you. In here, we use this cardstock so we don't mar the rod. You always put that on the jaws. But we put it back in here so everything's going to be off. The timing is going to be off. But I just use this lathe. So I'm going to take, what I'm going to do is, let me get my glasses. You know, look at this real close. And we just want to shave about 5,000ths off of this thing. Okay, we want a good fit in this. We want a tight fit. Better to be a little tight. So we're going to take the tip of this, come in a little bit. We're going to take the tip and seat it down into the bottom of the threads. Okay, and I can see this is where I ended, but I'm going to set it at 0 on my dial here. Okay, because I want to know exactly where I'm at. I'm going to set it at 0, lock that down. Okay, then I'm going to back it out, come over here. Okay, I'm gonna leave this out. Now you're gonna put this, you're gonna follow these threads. Okay, so I'm gonna start this. I'm gonna watch it. Let me set this up for threading. Okay, so we got low speed. We got it on the thread. Okay, I'm gonna watch this thing when I lock it in to follow threads, and I'm gonna use the cross bar here to move it over and get it back in the center again. Okay. So I'll wait for the timing mark here. Okay, there it is. Now, I'll push this up. I can see it's off. So I'm using the crossbar to get in there. Okay, it's off a little bit. I'm going to touch it down there. You can see it taking a little bit here. Okay, so now I'm going to set that at 0. Let's set it at 0 again so I know it's right there. Okay, it's just following, barely shaving it. So I'm right in there, it's falling in there. I know that's right. You know, you're at this point, you make one mistake and you'll ruin the whole thing. So back this out. Okay, I know it's set at 0, so I'm going to put it back at 0. I'm just going to do a test run. Be real careful. Lock it down. We're going to follow these threads all the way down, and then I'll come in and I'll touch it again. See, you can see it right there. Let me see how that looks. If I can zoom in on that. For you. Let me see if I can zoom in a little bit. Okay. It's following it. I'm touching. I'm trying to clean that out. At this point, you know, and I know because I've seen this happen with some of the machinists, you know, you got to have a guy that has experience doing this stuff. It's shaving a little bit because it's not perfect where it was at, man. Barely. So we're set at 0. Now I'm going to come in, I'm going to do 3,000ths on the first one. Okay, just check it. It's going all the way down. You saw that it was just a little bit tight. Now, better to be tight than loose. You don't want sloppy threads in there because that's a bad repair. Okay, come out. Let's go back over here. We know we're at 0 on that cavity on the bottom of the threads. I'm going to go in about 3,000ths and then hit it. Be real careful. We don't want to take too much off. There could have been a burr on that. I could have hit it. But, okay, now it's going to take a little more. But we're just a little bit. You can see it's coming off. Let's take our time. Then after this one, I'll go about 5,000ths. See if I can get in there a little closer for you to see that. Okay? Barely shaving it. So I'll let it run. Then I'm going to go in and do about 5,000ths up. Now, I might get this on the first try when I take it back over to try it, or I might have to come back and do the same thing again. But I want these threads as tight as possible, especially on a deal like this. You know, the reason I'm in there on a Sunday because I need this cylinder. And sometimes, you know, you got to do what you got to do to keep the customer happy. They have their machine down, and you know, we need to get them running. Sometimes it's about customer service. Okay, so now I'm going to come in. Okay, I'm going to come in. I'm going to go like that. I'm going to go back and make sure, because one screw up could really cause a problem for you. Sometimes 5/1000ths will make it tight, but I do want the threads tight. Okay, so I'm going to set this back at 0. Now I'm going to take one more cut on this after this one. It's a bit, you know, it's not going to be perfect because you put it back in there and you changed everything. So you can see why it's just shaving a little bit, but I'm gonna hit it a little harder up the next one here. Then I'll take it off, do the same thing, and see if that did it. If not, I'll be back again. It's a handling problem with this. This is a big thread. I don't, you know, it's having to handle this thing is not easy by yourself. Sometimes you get them right off the bat. And I don't normally do all this machine work. I do have a machinist, but I've done this for over almost 35 years. And I started doing this, so I'm like the trainer. But during the week, I'm mostly gone out in the field dealing with the customers and stuff. Okay, I'm going to go 5,000. Let's try that. I'm going to have to do it again. But it's easier for me to come in here on the weekends and do some of this stuff, the videos. It just makes it a little easier for me, not being interrupted and all that. Okay, I can already tell you I need to hit this again. So I don't like that, so we're going to pull it out. Stop it. Come in. Okay, wait for the mark. Okay, there we go. See, it'll start taking the dicom off a little bit. So I'm off just a few thousandths. I'm not using the lathe every day. I used to do it quite a bit. It's nice to have your own machinist working with you because they take care of a lot of this stuff, but I can do it too. That's why it's hard to BS me when it comes to this stuff here. I'm not the best machinist, but I can get the job done. Okay. I'll take a little more off this thing. See it? We're taking such a little amount that it's... Okay, I'm going to do it one more time. It's not cutting enough. Okay, we're going to try that. Let that finish off. I would hate to have to do it again, but you don't want to make the threads loose. You want them nice and snug. But then again, if they're too snug, you're not going to get it screwed all the way in. And I don't know, sometimes if this shoulder's off a little bit, and you get it all the way to this point, then your shoulder don't go and you're back on the lathe again. You know, I did measure it, but it's just, sometimes that happens. And there's other ways to use thread gauges and all this stuff on here, but we're not doing that this time. Sometimes that doesn't even matter. So we're at 20. I'm going to run this one more time as another cleanup. Okay, I'm hoping that it may not be enough, but we're just the way it is. This is, like I said, I can't screw this up because I need this thing back. If I were to make a mistake and overcut this, then the whole thing would be scrap and I'm without the rod. See, this is where the experience comes in on how to deal with this stuff. Customers down, you better do it right or have someone that knows what they're doing. I know because I've made some mistakes. I'm trying to show you what you're dealing with here. Nobody's perfect, and you will make mistakes. I've had a lot of machinists make a mistake, and that's just what it is. So a deal like this, I'm very sensitive to it because I'm on the hook for the $600 for this thing. Let me find that nut. Let's just check it. I'd rather have to pull it off several times than overcut it. So if I got to put it back on the lathe again, I will. And it's, this thing's heavy. Like I said, I'm in here by myself. And, drop this thing, drop it on the floor, all that. And I'm used to doing that stuff. I started doing this by myself. Okay, it's still snug. I might do about a couple more thousandths just to be safe. Okay, it's not really shaking. It's still pretty tight. It's a little harder in the beginning. Okay, that's good. I think I'm going to leave it there and try it. I don't want to cut it anymore. But the tip here, a little tighter, snug. But if you start banging that thread around, it folds them over a little bit and makes it tough. I'm hoping this goes. It feels a lot better. So let's go with that. Stand by. I'll get set up to try to put this thing in there.